Hey, welcome back to the channel. A few years back, I found myself making promises to myself that I could just never keep. Whether it was I wanted to wake up early in the morning to hit the gym, or I wanted to try to find some more quality time with the family, but something would always get in the way. And every single time I would set an intention to do it, I just could not follow through with it. I would allow outside sources to intervene. I would talk myself out of actually doing it. Instead of waking up early, I'd be like 10 more minutes and I'd keep sleeping to the point where I realized that it's just never going to happen. And it got so frustrating to me because I wanted to accomplish these small little tasks, it seemed like, but I couldn't. And it's because of the identity that I was forming and the habits, the bad habits that I was creating, that were stopping me from accomplishing these small little goals or tasks. And that wasn't helping when I actually wanted to make a bigger commitment or set a bigger intention. If I couldn't accomplish a small one, I couldn't expect myself to actually accomplish the big ones. And if this sounds like you, if you are struggling to make a commitment to yourself of something that you want to do, something that you know is going to be good for you, your body, your future, your career, your family, whatever it may be, but you're just struggling following through on these commitments and you keep breaking these promises, I want to help you with that because I did find a way to help myself overcome these obstacles, to not allow the environmental variables or personal variables or brain variables to influence me and stop me from the intention that I had set. So stick with me. Let's talk through exactly how we can rewire your brain so you can stick to your commitments, follow through on your promises, and become a better version of you. All right, so first off, why do we break our promises that we make to ourselves? Why does it seem so easy sometimes? Like the whole waking up in the morning thing, that was one that I thought it was going to be easy because honestly, when it came down to it, and I talked to you guys about this in a previous video, I was going to bed really late. And I found a way to just slowly and progressionally start going to bed a little bit earlier and a little bit earlier and a little bit earlier to the point where I was going to bed at a pretty decent time. I mean, I was going to bed at 3 a.m. before. So it took a lot for me to bring that down to like midnight, 11:30. But it was progressional. I had to do it in small increments. And what is really fascinating to me is James Clear. He's the author of the #1 New York Times bestseller, Atomic Habits. He talks about the 1% rule. And the 1% rule is literally every single day you just do something better by 1%. Make small incremental changes that are going to help you create new habits so you rewire yourself to form these habits and keep developing in the right way. Your identity and your belief system and who you are have a lot to do with how well you can change these habits. See, if you tell yourself it's too hard, then it's going to be too hard. If you tell yourself that you're just an inconsistent person, that's exactly who you're going to be, no matter what type of commitment you are trying to make. I'm the type of person who doesn't finish things. I'm the type of person who doesn't follow through. It's just who I am. It's in my nature. I can't change it. Does this sound familiar? You can absolutely change it, and you can rewire your brain. You just have to change your personal identity and the belief system that you have for yourself. This is something that I had to do, and once I did it, dramatic things started to change. I never saw myself as a person who would go to bed at an earlier time. I thought I was a late night person, like I said. But it's amazing that when I started speaking to myself in a certain way and telling myself that I was the type of person who likes to get 8 hours of sleep, and I'm the type of person that goes to bed early, and I'm the type of person who wakes up refreshed, that I started to believe that I was that person. And the next thing I know, that my actions started moving in the way of my identity. And see, the more I learn about Dr. Joe Dispenza's work and what he says about neuroscience and neuroplasticity, is that you can rewire the brain. I mean, that is what neuroplasticity is. It's basically the rewiring of the brain, where you can actually teach yourself to become a different version of who you want to be. Well, I didn't want to be the late night guy anymore. And I didn't want to be inconsistent with the promises that I made to myself. I didn't want to be that guy who, if I said I was going to do something and I didn't, it was okay. Because then I found myself making promises to other people in my life, and it was easy to break them. And that is a terrible habit to create. If you can break a promise to yourself, you can easily break a promise to somebody else. And the last thing you want to do is break a promise to somebody that you love and care about. See, when we break promises to ourselves, we also activate what is called the shame loop. And the shame loop is when you start feeling the emotion of the outcome of breaking that promise. Maybe you start feeling guilt, like, oh, I wish I didn't do that. Why did I do that? Or shame, where you start feeling like, oh, I'm a failure. I can never keep these promises. I keep setting myself up for failure all the time. Why can't I just follow through? See, the last thing you want is to start telling yourself these things, because words are very powerful. And when that shame loop kicks in, those words become a new belief system, where the things that you say, you start to believe. Where really what you want to start doing are saying things that are positive. Like, I'm a person who always keeps my word. I always follow through on what I say. This is something I know that I can commit to, and I will make sure that it gets done. See, you want to start speaking in a way that leads you to forming an identity, so your identity also triggers your actions. When you start believing something so deeply, you start acting on it as well. And it's not as easy said and done, where you just start saying things and all of a sudden that's it. Like, you're good at commitments, you got to act on them as well. But it all starts with your belief system and your identity. Know that you can accomplish these things. And what you also want to do is start visualizing you accomplishing these goals, whatever it is. So when I am trying to wake up earlier in the morning, and I'm doing it in those little increments like James Clear talks about with that 1% rule, and every single day I'm just waking up just a little bit earlier, or even when I get up, I'm just trying to set a new intention to do something. Maybe it's journal before I go to work. Maybe it's meditation. Maybe it's breath work. Maybe one day I will get to the gym in the morning, even though that is not something that's important to me. What's important to me is just making sure that I make it there. But at the same time, it is very important that you make these incremental changes. After learning about what Dr. Joe Dispenza tells us about the brain and how it operates, I know now that the brain cannot tell the difference between what we are actually thinking with the emotion of our thoughts and what is actually going on in the physical world. So if you can see yourself accomplishing these goals and you feel the emotion of this accomplishment, that is going to go a very long way to you making a commitment and following through with it, because you are creating the identity that you are that person. A story that I think about when it comes to looking at my level of commitments and the promises I made to myself and making them feel really small and really easy is the story of Noah in the Bible. See, Noah was asked by God to create an ark, where at that time, in Genesis 2, it talks that there had been no rain ever. That rain really kind of didn't even exist up to that point. So God asked Noah to build this ark where nobody had seen rain. There was no reason to build this ark. Noah was 500 years old. It took him 100 years to build the ark. He had to stay faithful and true and trust God through this commitment, through all the ridicule, because obviously no one was buying into the idea of why this ark had to be created. Noah had to get 2 of every type of animal onto the ark. And at that point in time, God had never told him how long he was going to remain on that ark, how long it was going to rain for. It was the ultimate level of faith and commitment that you could possibly ask for. And Noah followed through with it. If Noah could do that, I can try to wake up a little bit earlier, right? It puts things in a little bit more perspective when it comes down to looking at the other challenges that you could possibly have in your life, looking at the challenge of the commitment and the intention you were trying to make for yourself and accomplishing it. One other thing I really wanted to try to make a commitment to, and I made a promise that I was going to do better with, is having more confidence in myself. Really committing to the idea that I was no longer going to be a people pleaser. And I've done a video on this. You guys can go check that out. It's on the channel. but not being a people pleaser and becoming more confident. Now, that was a really tough one because I had to definitely make some incremental changes in my habits. But again, I did it little by little. I would slowly every single day do one little thing that was outside of my comfort zone, something I normally would not do, something that would make me feel uncomfortable, something that would I would normally cringe just by the thought of. But I knew I had to do it. I knew I had to set this intention and challenge myself every single day. And I think James Clear talks about it perfectly with that 1% rule. I think trying to do things cold turkey can really set you back because if you don't accomplish it, it's going to make you feel like a failure. And that's where a lot of times, a lot of people that are in leadership, they like goals, but they don't like goals because goals, if you don't accomplish them, can really kind of set back your emotion where you don't feel worthy, you feel upset that you didn't accomplish it. It's kind of a downer. So that's why I feel like doing things little by little and setting little intentions and setting small, incremental, measurable, and scalable goals are really the way to go. Something that is easy for you to accomplish on a level that you can just move toward it, and it feels like it's something that you can do. Because the more that you accomplish and chip away with these small incremental goals that you are setting for yourself, the more that you are going to create a habit and move yourself in a way that is going to help you become a new identity of a person who does what they say they're going to do. You know, a small example is my wife. I'm actually really proud of her because she's been trying to get up in the morning and go to the gym. And it's not the easiest thing in the world. Like everybody knows that. But what I'm really proud of is that not only is she making this attempt and accomplishing it, but she also realized that she needed the accountability. So the gym that she's going to actually has scheduled class times that she can set the night before. So if she wants to go to a 6 a.m. class and make that commitment, she can go on the app and she can register herself for that class and boom, she's got the commitment. And if she doesn't make it there, they actually charge her. That is a fantastic way to start setting a goal when there's a consequence of you also not accomplishing it. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but I really appreciate and respect the fact that she identified that she needed that accountability and she found a way to make it work. She found something that worked within her particular type of personality. And that's huge. So any of you out there that are trying to set an intention on something and you need that kind of accountability, that's the other tool that goes a really long way. Have someone that can hold you accountable for your actions. Have someone that can hold you accountable for following through on the promises that you make. You know, so if you are trying to create more time with the family, you know, and have a friend that is going to call you out when you do something or schedule something that falls within that time frame. You know, have someone that can help you through this process. If I keep talking about waking up early, but I feel like a lot of people I talk to that's the number one thing they're trying to accomplish, just waking up a little bit earlier. Have someone that wakes up early call you and wake you up. A lot of times the accountability can go a really long way at the same time. I hope these little steps help you guys. There's so much more to this. The neuroscience of this is phenomenal. You know, when you get into the limbic system and the prefrontal cortex and neuroplasticity, it's absolutely fascinating stuff. But on a micro level, on a human level, the things that you really need to do are one, just change your identity, become more habitual within the habits that you form and do them on a small scale. Do them so they're incremental. You're just chipping away like that James Clear 1% rule, just every single day, just to make small improvements, get outside your comfort zone to the point where you're starting to create new habits and build affirmations in yourself. Start telling yourself that you are this new person, that you are a person that accomplishes what they set out to do. If you set an intention, I am the person that follows through on my promises. I do not break my promises. Speak it into existence. Become that person. And remember, if Noah can do it, you can absolutely do it.